Welcome to Inner Health, Outer Beauty, where we will shatter myths about health and discuss the latest and greatest non-surgical cosmetic procedures. I'm your host, Dr. Wanda Dyson, founder and director of Change for Life Wellness and Aesthetics, author of How to Be Healthy, It's Not What You Think, and expert injector of non-surgical cosmetic procedures for 18 years. Today's guest, Mr. Anthony Stephan, founder of True Hope Nutritional Support, turned a series of family tragedies into triumph and hope, changing the lives of thousands of individuals and their families who suffered with mental disorders, such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and depression. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Stephan to my show today.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be a chosen guest of yours. This is wonderful. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. You and your partner were involved in the formulation of a product that has helped thousands of individuals with mental illnesses. Bipolar, schizophrenia, depression, and many others.
Yes.
What was the name of that formulation?
Empower Plus. And we named it Empower Plus because it absolutely empowers the neurological system within the brain and, the central nervous system throughout our body.
So what was the series of tragic family events that led you to this discovery?
I was married to a wonderful lady who sadly was diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder 1 with rapid cycling, one of the worst diagnoses that you can have in the psychiatric system. And on a constant daily basis, she struggled. It was absolutely terrifying. And in a traumatic way, it ended up with her actually taking her life. And there wasn't anything there to help her. At the time of her death, she was on Prozac, a good stiff dose of Prozac on a daily basis. My 2 children, my daughter was taking 5 different medications: Haldol, an antipsychotic, Rivotril, Epival, Ativan, and Cogentin. And my son was taking a whopping, he's 14 years old at that time, taking a whopping 1,200 milligrams of lithium per day, Carbolith, to try and control the symptoms. And nothing was working. My wife's father took his life 16 years before she did. And we had to bury him. And just tragic. Their whole family is just riddled with bipolar disorder. Go ahead, Wanda.
So I can imagine that you were very afraid for your children when they too were diagnosed with bipolar disorder 1. And you really were driven to do something about this. And that's how Empower Plus was created. So how was that process with you?
Well, it was an interesting journey, but it was a traumatic journey because I was so broken. And I think I had to be broken in order to find the answer. When you're in the bottom of the pit looking up, you're open to a lot of different thoughts. I remember waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a shout. And my wife said to me, my second wife, Barbara, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I said, I've got it. I know now what we need to do. And looked into it. We studied it. We prayed about it. We fasted about it. The answers came one line at a time. It's a 2-year journey. And all of a sudden we popped out at the end of the tunnel after 2 years and we had this product. But you need to understand, people were taking 48 capsules a day. How do you want that?
Yeah.
That's a full meal deal. Do you want it with gravy or what? Like chips? I mean, it was just unbelievable. And over a period of time, through a lot more fasting and prayer and searching and looking, we were able to develop that. So we got down to 24 caps from 48, 36, 24. And then we were at 18, and then we're at 14. And now we're at 4 caps. And now we've come up with a brand new product that is micro-sized. And we've changed the uptake mechanism on it. It's all natural. And we're using one a day. One a day. And we're having profound results.
Awesome.
Yeah. Profound results.
Well, that's far
okay,
different. 48 capsules for one a day. You started with your son, Joseph.
That's right. Exactly. And Joseph was a tough case. Joseph was extremely violent. Extremely violent. At the age of 15, he had a federal weapons charge. He took a weapon after another guy. And he says now, years later, and I mean, he's not proud. He acknowledges this whole radical change that took place in his early life, but it healed him. But he says he's everything that a schoolyard shooting was made out of. I'm not kidding you. This is what he says about himself. He was on the talk circuit for a while and helped a lot of people to understand that we're victims. We are victims of our neurochemistry. It's
so
interesting.
You see these mental disorders as nutritional deficiencies because you were able to correct the mental disorder that Joseph was suffering from, and also your daughter Autumn, by using this nutritional supplement. How long did it take for Joseph to respond to it? And then what happened in your where you were living as a result of it, when people began to notice this improvement?
Well, Joseph was a really, like I say, a tough case, but it was 14 days. 14 days, and this guy didn't do the full 180, but let's say he did a 140. I'm not kidding you. I remember his principal calling me and saying, "What's going on?" He's not disruptive. He's kind. He's not attacking the other students. He's not belligerent to the teachers. What are you doing? I said, "We've got him on some nutrients." He said, "I got to hear more about this." And we lived in a little town of 3,500 people. And pretty soon there were people at our door. Our phones were ringing off the walls. I remember this guy up the street. He said, "You don't know me." And I said, "Yeah, you're right." His name was John Cheney. He's passed away now. He was an old gentleman then, wonderful old fellow. And he looked after his wife, Gloria. And Gloria suffered with schizophrenia and had been locked down for 18 years. 18 years. Never got out of her bed except for to go to the bathroom or to have some food that John would prepare for her. And he phoned me up and he said, "I've heard down at the Handicap Society what you're doing." And he said, "Will this work for schizophrenia?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know. My son had bipolar disorder. My daughter had bipolar disorder. But I said, let's try it." And it worked. And then the University of Calgary got involved because they wanted to see her, and they went through her medical records. And with one of their top neuropsychiatric doctors, she was interviewed. We took her up there, and the doctor said, "I see no reason why this lady would have gone into remission on her symptoms of schizophrenia." They took her off the nutrients. She lost it. They put her back on the nutrients, but it was absolutely amazing. And I mean, 18 years of hallucinations, seeing people that aren't there, hearing voices, wanting to commit suicide to escape, seeing worms crawling on her body. I mean, it was just terrifying for this poor lady. And all of a sudden, she's now volunteering at the Cardston Hospital in the cafeteria and enjoying her life. And her and her husband went on to have a rich, fulfilling life, and they both passed away, and they got old. They were old already, but it was amazing. The last 15 years of their lives were absolutely wonderful. So we saw this. And
so
then
she got her life back.
Yep.
She got
absolutely.
Of this nutritional supplement, Empower Plus. But people began to notice Joseph and his improvement, and you got calls from people with all types of diagnoses originally. You got calls about schizophrenia, you got calls about depression, and you didn't know whether it would work in all these other. It did.
It did.
Correct?
Exactly. And I would always preface the thing. My son had bipolar. He doesn't have severe depression. My son doesn't have severe anxiety. My son doesn't have OCD. But we saw changes, positive changes in everybody. And the University of Calgary sat up. We used to do these charts and graphs, and we would get their medical documentation and take it to the university. At least 250,000 people are no longer medicated through our call center. And they're whole, they're well. Many of them have graduated, and they take small amounts every week, and they do wonderfully well. They're back in their careers, back in their relationships, back where they came from before they fell ill to these neurochemical issues. Yeah.
So they can either through their psychiatrist, if they're on these medications, their psychiatrist can help them while they start the Empower Plus, or they can call the support center, or when they order the product, truehope.com, and you will help them to start the nutritional supplements in a safe manner, because they may have to lower the meds that they're taking when they start the Empower, because it starts to really address the core problem, which apparently you've discovered is nutritional deficiencies.
Exactly. What you said is exactly how we do it. And we encourage doctors. There's over 15,000 medical practitioners in our database. Huge. And so many doctors have referred people to us, and we work with the doctor. We're not anti-medication. We're not anti-doctor. Sometimes people have to really be kind of sedated before they're able to start on our program. And so a doctor will use heavy medications, get them somewhat stable. We can provide the nutrition, and then they start to feel better. And then the doctor can taper off the medication, and away they go.
So this is not a new thing, and it actually has been in the media before. And here is a clip from Fox 5 News in 2013.
Probably heard of the family of drugs here: Prozac, Paxil, Xanax. If you haven't taken one of those drugs, you may know somebody who has.
That's right, because nearly 1 in 4 American adults have some sort of mental health issue, some of them minor, some of them severe. Each year, they spend thousands of dollars on medications. But what if you could replace all those medications with just one pill?
What's in these pills is well beyond what you'd find in an ordinary multivitamin. A doctor at Harvard found Empower Plus helped 19 out of 22 patients with bipolar disorder, and a research team at the University of Calgary also found the supplement has, quote, a beneficial psychotropic effect.